Welcome to the next prophecy update. Today we're going to be thoroughly covering the microchip. Not just the microchip that goes in your hand or your pet, but also the one that is in our clothes, our electronics, and the one that has infiltrated our homes. The research alone for this video took me quite a few hours. In 20 minutes time, over 60 articles pertaining to the microchip and its development will be shown. Although some of the articles are a little older, they're all extremely relevant to the times we are in. The articles used will be listed and linked in the description box. Microsoft collects locations of Windows Phone users. Like Apple and Google, Microsoft collects records of the physical locations of customers who use its mobile operating systems. A Microsoft representative was not able to answer questions posed this afternoon, including how long the location's histories are stored and how frequently the phone's coordinates are transmitted over the internet. Even though police are tapping into locations of mobile phones thousands of times a year by contacting mobile carriers, the legal ground remains very unclear. Warning over need for safeguards in email and web monitoring plan. The Information Commissioner has warned that strict safeguards must be put in place if the plans to monitor the calls, emails, texts, and website visits for every person in the UK are implemented. The Crime Prevention Minister told BBC News, "Don't worry. This is not some great big government snooping exercise." A director of the campaign group Big Brother Watch said, "This act fundamentally changes the nature of the relationship between the state and the citizen and turns every individual into a suspect." Tracking file found in iPhones. Apple faced questions on Wednesday about the security of its iPhone and iPad after a report that the devices regularly record their locations in a hidden file. The report came from a technology conference in San Francisco, where two computer programmers presented research showing that the iPhone and 3G versions of the iPad began logging users' locations about a year ago, when Apple updated its mobile operating system. After customers upgraded the software, a new hidden file began periodically storing location data. The CIA wants to spy on you through your TV. Agency director says it will transform surveillance. When people download a film from Netflix to a flat screen or turn on a web radio, they could be alerting unwanted watchers to exactly what they are doing and where they are. Spies will no longer have to plant bugs in your home. The rise of connected gadgets will mean that people bug their own homes without even knowing it, according to the CIA. The CIA claims it will then be able to read these devices via the internet and perhaps even via radio waves from outside your house. Everything from remote controls to clock radios can now be controlled with the chip company. RIM recently unveiled low-powered surveillance microchips, which will be used in everything from light systems, fridges, ovens, and even doorbells. The CIA director said, "Transformational is an overused word, but I do believe it properly applies to these technologies." Web-connected gadgets will transform the art of spying, allowing spies to monitor people automatically without planting bugs or breaking and entering. Almost any item in your home today could be bugged. Items of interest will be located, identified, monitored, and remotely controlled through technologies such as RFIDs. All of these are connected to the next-generation internet using abundant, low-cost, and high-power computing. The ARM chips are smaller, lower-powered, and far cheaper than the previous processors, and are designed to add the internet to almost every kind of electrical appliance. It's a concept described as the Internet of Things. Futurists think that one day connected devices will tell the internet where they are and what they are doing at all times, and will be mapped out by computers as precisely as Google Map charts the physical landscape now. Privacy groups have warned of how information such as geolocation data can be misused, but as more and more devices connect, it's clear that opportunities will multiply. DHS looked to spy on video game consoles in search of pedophiles and terrorists. Gamers may want to be careful about what they say when jumping onto the consoles for an innocent bout of slaying dragons or killing zombies. The government will be watching. The Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Navy have launched a new research initiative that will explore ways of allowing the government to hack into gaming consoles, like the Xbox 360, Wii, or PlayStation 3, to obtain information on gamers. New microchip knows just where you are, indoors and out. The chip achieves unprecedented accuracy by processing information from many different sensors. Broadcom has just rolled out a microchip for smartphones that promises to indicate locations ultra precisely, possibly within a few centimeters, indoors and out. The variety of location data available to mobile device makers means location services will continue to become more and more refined. In theory, the new chip can determine what floor of a building you're on. Microchips everywhere, a future vision. Here's a vision of the not-so-distant future. Microchips with antennas will be embedded in virtually everything you buy, wear, drive, and read, allowing retailers and law enforcement to track consumer items, and by extension, consumers, wherever they go from a distance. In smart homes, sensors built into walls, floors, and appliances will inventory possessions, record eating habits, monitor medicine cabinets, all the while silently reporting data to marketers eager for a peek into the occupants' private lives. Science fiction? In truth, much of the RFID technology that enables objects and people to be tagged and tracked wirelessly already exists, and the new and potentially intrusive uses of it are being patented, perfected, and deployed. Microchips are turning up in some computer printers, car keys, and tires, on shampoo bottles and department store clothing tags. They are also in library books and contactless payment cards. At a store, RFID doorways could scan your purchases automatically as you leave, eliminating tedious checkouts. At home, convenience is a selling point. RFID-enabled refrigerators could warn about expired milk, generate weekly shopping lists, and even send signals to your interactive TV, so that you see personalized commercials for your food you have a history of buying. And we're probably still just scratching the surface in terms of places RFIDs can be used. In strategic areas, companies can invisibly rifle through people's pockets, purses, suitcases, briefcases, luggage, and possibly their kitchen and even bedrooms, any time of the day or night. As RFIDs go mainstream and the range of readers increases, it will be difficult to know who is gathering what data, who has access to it, and what is being done with it, and who should be held responsible for it. From RFID World, MediaCart deploys Smart Shopping Cart. RFID World opened in Dallas on Monday, with about 3,000 attendees and 200 booths. The shopping cart is outfitted with a screen on the opposite end of the shopper, with a control pad on the cart's handle. Using a special RFID reader, the cart will display advertising in the bottom portion of the screen, as it passes items and produce that have been fitted with microchip tags mounted on the shelves. For example, an ad for a particular brand of bottled water will appear when the shopper goes near the bottled water aisle. Once the designated checkout lane is reached, the cart communicates wirelessly to the POS system for a quick checkout. Walmart radio tags to track clothing. The ability to wave the wand and have a sense of all the products that are on the floor or in the back room in seconds is something that we feel can really transform our business. While most of the tags can be removed from the clothing and packages, they can never be turned off, and they are trackable. Wells Fargo tests microchips for global trading card clients. The U.S. bank with the most branches is testing microchip-embedded RFID credit cards to address complaints of customers who have had trouble using their cards abroad. India plans biometric IDs for all of its 1.16 billion citizens. India is undertaking an ambitious plan to provide identification cards to all of its citizens to tackle poverty and fight terrorism. Given India's population, the ID plan will be one of the world's biggest IT projects. Each card will contain a special trackable microchip. Feds should back RFIDs for human remains. In the wake of large-scale disasters like Hurricane Katrina, recovery efforts can take weeks, and tracking human corpses can become technically challenging. The solution? Recovery workers are placing RFID chips into human corpses. U.S. plans stealth shark spies. Pentagon scientists are planning to turn sharks into stealth spies, capable of tracking vessels undetected, a British magazine has reported. They want to remotely control the sharks by implanting microchips in their brains. We can then exploit the shark's natural ability to glide through the water. It aims to build on the latest developments in the brain implant technology, which has already seen scientists control the movements of fish, rats, and monkeys. Neuroimplants consist of a series of electrodes that are embedded into the animal's brain, which then can be used to stimulate various functional areas. The magazine says such devices are already being used by scientists to steer a spiny dogfish in a fish tank. The next step for the Pentagon scientists will be to release the blue sharks with similar devices into the ocean off the coast of Florida. So the spy sharks are actually meant for tracking Florida vessels. So they are not international spy sharks that are being remotely controlled with microchips in their brain. They are now residential spy sharks, coming to a beach resort near you. Let's just hope no overly attentive and crazed Jaw fans get a hold of that remote controller. The U.S. Navy has acoustic signaling towers capable of sending sonar signals to a shark up to 187 miles away. It said the scientists will be particularly interested in the animal's health during the test. As wild predators, it's very easy to exhaust them, and this will place strict limits on how long the researchers can control their movements in any one session without harming them. Despite this limitation, though, remote-controlled sharks do have advantages that robotic surveillance vehicles just cannot match. They are silent and they power themselves. Implanted microchip might be future of drug delivery. Remote controls may not just be for appliances anymore. In a new small study, women with severe osteoporosis were implanted with a microchip that released bone-building drugs at the push of a button, a delivery method that could someday become common for various health conditions. It frees patients from the burden of having to manage their disease on a daily basis. He hopes that the FDA will approve this on the market and that it will become available to everyone in the next couple of years. On sale, smart pill with edible microchip that tells you and your doctor when the next dose is due. Patients take their drug along with an extra tablet embedded with a tiny edible sensor, which sends back information to a receiver. This tracks when the drugs were taken and the dose, as well as monitoring heart rate and body temperature. Crackdown on dangerous dog to make microchips compulsory for all. The chip contains a unique code number, the dog's name, age, breed, and health, as well as the owner's name, address, and phone number. All dogs are to be mandatorily microchipped so that their owners can be more easily traced. Study: RFID implants could cause cancer. VeriChip says implantable RFID chips are safe for humans. VeriChip has stated lab rodents are more prone than humans or other animals to develop tumors from all types of injections, therefore concluding that implants are completely safe for humans. Chip implants linked to animal tumors. FDA approves computer chips for humans. Despite concerns, the FDA has placed its stamp of approval on human microchipping. Is the human chip implant wave of the future? 1 in 4 Germans want microchip under their skin. It sounds like something from a sci-fi film, but 1 in 4 Germans would be happy to have a microchip implanted in their body. Implantable RFID microchips to monitor blood sugar. Microchip implant to link your health records, credit history, and social security. Human or cow, Positive ID has an implantable microchip for you. Implantable chips in our troops. A Florida company wants to get under the skin of 1.4 million U.S. servicemen and women. RFID chips planned for Alzheimer's patients. RFID chips to monitor move-by cops on patrol. Microchips implanted in Mexican officials. At least 160 people have been implanted with microchips that get them across to secure areas of their headquarters. More are scheduled to get tagged in the coming months. The key members of the Mexican military, the police, and the president might also follow. In addition, more than 1,000 Mexicans have been implanted for medical reasons. Microchip to allow wallet-free drinking. The digital wallet the size of a grain of rice guarantees entry to the club and allows customers to buy drinks on their account. The microchip is inserted by a medical professional, then scanned for its unique ID number as customers enter the bar. There are a number of advantages, from instant access to not having to carry money or credit cards, to letting bar staff know a customer's name and a favorite drink, said Mr. Stevens. By the time you walk through the door to the bar, your favorite drink is waiting for you and the bar staff can greet you by name. Those who have the microchip are considered special VIP members. Chip maker wants to implant immigrants. The maker of the controversial RFID tracking chip suggests implanting the device in immigrants and guest workers. In an interview on the Fox News channel, Silverman suggested the RFID implants could be used to register workers at the border and then verify their identities in the workplace. We have talked to many people in Washington about using it, he told Fox News, and we do hope that it will become a reality. VeriChip sells first baby protection system in talks with the military. VeriChip, the company that makes human implantable RFID chips, is looking to span its equipment from newborns to the military enlisted. VeriChip also has a separate patient identification system called VeriMed, which is used beneath the skin for infant protection. Once the chip is implanted in the person's arm or in the hand, it displays a 16-digit identifier. Separately, the company confirmed a day earlier that it's in talks with the military to test its implantable chips in 2 branches of the military. The key to the future lies in this man's hands. A small microchip is blurring the line between humans and technology. Inside the webbing between his thumb and forefinger, a microchip the size of a grain of rice verifies his identity through an electronic reader. He can turn on his computer, unlock his car, and start his motorcycle with a flick of a wrist. Some see his actions as ingenious. Others see conspiracies and claim the Book of Revelations is coming to pass. Where's Jimmy? Just Google his barcode. Scientists tag animals to monitor their behavior and keep track of endangered species. Now some futurists are asking whether all of mankind should be tagged too. Looking for a loved one? Just Google his microchip. As of 2010, there are 30 billion radio RFID tags that are produced globally. Having an implantable microchip in every single person could relieve anxiety for parents and help save lives, or work on a more mundane level by unlocking doors with a wave of a hand or starting parked cars. The possibilities are truly limitless. Implant chip. Track people. It's 10 p.m. You may not know where your child is, but the chip does. The chip will also know if your child has fallen and needs immediate help. Once the paramedics arrive, the chip will also be able to tell the rescue workers which drugs little Johnny or Janie is allergic to. At the hospital, the chip will tell doctors his or her complete medical history. Of course, when you arrive to pick up your child, settling the hospital bill with your health insurance policy will be the simple matter of waving your own chip, the one embedded in your hand. To some, this may sound far-fetched, but the technology for such chips is no longer the stuff of science fiction, and it may soon offer many other benefits besides locating lost children or elderly Alzheimer's patients. Chris Gray, a professor at the University of Great Falls in Montana, says, "It will be profound. We won't have to carry wallets anymore. Everything we need and depend on will be on the chip." And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, regardless as to whether or not you believe the microchip could be the mark of the beast, there are several things we know for certain. One being that whether we like to admit it or not, microchips or spy chips are embedded in virtually everything, and that they can be used to collect data, track objects and people, control and manipulate movements of animals, and release life-saving drugs or lethal poisons. We also know that despite the wonderful FDA stamp of approval, the microchips can cause cancerous tumors, and that by receiving one, you place yourself in a government database, therefore removing all sense of privacy. These reasons alone should be enough to stay clear of receiving the implant. However, unfortunately, as the cashless society continues to grow, by matter of convenience, we will begin to see more and more people line up for this. As that article said, human or cow, there's a microchip out there for you. Now that the animals have been taken care of, they will move on to prisoners, immigrants, soldiers, law enforcement, children, and then the rest of us. Although it's helpful, protests, stored food, and guns will only get us so far. If we truly want to persevere and outlive and outlast, we need the person on our side that foretold all of these events. There's only two sides to choose from. In the microchip invasion and the matter of salvation, where do you stand?